here to gaze to their left and see what they can see. So traffic is trickling by. The traffic lights at Cottman are dark. I don't know if that meant that power got out or maybe the Philly police knocked them out. But there's nobody crossing Cottman Avenue unless that would be a police officer or any of the utility crews that are coming here, or maybe some of the media. So hopefully everybody will be careful and take it easy as they're driving by this spot. But we are seeing some signs that this is going to be shut down for an infinite amount of time, possibly, why they get this investigation going and why they make repairs and do all they have to do. And that's the case with the steel barricades that you see going up to keep the crowds back, to keep the roads closed, and to keep everybody back as they have investigators waiting, no surprise, for first light, because this happened just as it was getting dark. This is the hour where it gets dark, and it wasn't completely dark.
This is crazy,
out,
man.
You'll see a lot more maybe that they haven't spotted in terms of debris and whatever they need to find in the first daylight. Plus, hopefully the rain will clear. I haven't been paying attention too close, as you understand, to tomorrow's forecast. I just know how tonight's forecast has been nonstop terrible, in a word. So hopefully at first light, they'll get an idea about how bad things are. We'll get an update from officials. I wouldn't expect, it doesn't look like anybody's getting ready for any news conferences here. The media is kind of thinning out. I'm looking at what we used as a podium. It went from 15 mics to 1 microphone. So nobody's telling us, hey, get ready for another update as we're approaching midnight. Expect an update probably tomorrow morning after first light, after authorities get a look at everything, get their updated numbers, and let's hope, if anybody is religious and they want to pray, let's pray that number 6 is the total number in the death toll, and that everybody that was in a car not far from me as we were driving through Cottman Avenue, getting past the boulevard, all made it out somehow miraculously. But, boy, I saw so many cars on fire, and I was hearing all the tires popping from being burned and blowing up outside that I just thought, my first thought was, did everybody get out of those cars? And how much warning did they have? And you talked about nobody looks up. You were saying, Jason, I heard you saying that, well, nobody in traffic is going to look to their left at a shopping mall and expect a Learjet to come careening across them either. So we'll see if that's the case.
Yeah.
So that is the update as of 11:45 here at Boulevard and Cottman Avenue right now. Lots of Philly police here, lots of Philly Fire Department folks here. They're none in any hurry to leave, and they're going to stay here probably through the night until first light in the morning.
Yeah, and in all prayers accepted here. Steve, thank you very much.
It would be a long night for all these people.
It would truly be a miracle if nobody on the ground was hurt or killed. I know that there are some injuries, but if the death toll stays at 6, as you see the NTSB there behind the road, and just to think that these barricades are coming out when they're so synonymous with parades and Eagles fun and the mummers and whatever else there is, to think that those are now being used to cordon off what has been just a horrific plane crash in Northeast Philly tonight.
And we were talking just about the stark contrast of a city so hyped and pumped and proud that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, and just the excitement, and then contrast that to this deadly crash and the impact and just the horrific scene and everything that people are going through in these neighborhoods, and the first responders, and they're trying to do their job. It's crazy.
And then
think
to back air tragedies that happen, within a few hours of each other and a few days of each other. I'm sure there are people out there who, their fear of flying has just quadrupled with these two tragic moments. But, Steve Keeley, right to point out that, where this plane crashed and how it didn't hit homes and or businesses, and it maybe found an opening, a safe place. Pilots, this is what they're trained to do, and you just never know what that pilot was thinking in his final thoughts.
Right, and Jet Rescues, that was the company, the aircraft that owned it. A spokesperson said that it was a seasoned crew, and everyone involved in these flights goes through rigorous training. when an incident happens, it's shocking and surprising.
Wow.
The spokesperson said all of the aircraft are maintained, not a penny is spared, because we know our mission is so critical, because it's an air ambulance, and they were transporting this little girl back to Mexico to her home. And I know from covering these kinds of things that the pilots do everything in their power when they know they're going down to not have an impact on the ground, to try to land where there are no homes, where there are no businesses. And, you know, like you said, it will be a miracle.
In a residential area.
And certainly 6 lives
in a residential
lost
area.
is tragic. But hopefully when the sun comes up and officials brief us again, it won't be as bad as it could have been.
Well, yeah, you do think about that little girl who was going through months of treatment, and this was her flight home.
I know.
And in fact, a nurse at Shriners has confirmed to us that they had a little going away party for her this morning or today before she boarded this plane, a little ceremony to send her off. And
she was there with her mom. She's been there since September with a critical condition.
So, you know, those nurses and that medical staff that was very intimate with this family, I'm sure knew them very well through this ordeal. So we're thinking about them tonight as well, because this must be incredibly painful for them to have to endure when they, you know, seemingly nurse this little girl. And I don't think we know her age. But we know she's a minor, and that she was there with her mom. But to nurse this girl seemingly to health in Philly and send her off, and then for it to end this way, that's a tragedy in and of itself. But the people on the ground and the ordeal for the community in Northeast Philadelphia, I think we're still in the dark about that. We're not exactly sure how wide-ranging it is, and although our early reporting is that 6 people were sent to a local hospital, and none of them life-threatening. These are people on the ground. So that's an early report, and much more can happen. Steve was talking about what we'll learn at daylight. We should probably hear from hospitals tomorrow morning. We'll hear from the NTSB, you'd think, by tomorrow morning as well. So still much to be learned. So we're left with these live pictures and this jaw-dropping reality of a plane crash on Cotman here. And, you know, again.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, it's been another plane crash in Philadelphia. Jet went down. This is the second aircraft that has went down, or the third, actually. At first, it was a plane and a helicopter, a military helicopter. Now you got a jet that has went down.
Federal partners on the scene by what looks to be a piece of that plane, trying to piece together what happened. Let's go out to Cheyenne Corinne one final time here. Cheyenne, what's it like there right now?
Well, Dawn, we've been saying all evening that it's going to take some time, if ever, that Northeast Philadelphia and Cotman Ave will ever look the same. But now we see these metal barriers here. This is the first that we are seeing here. You saw moments ago that crews just put these up, and this is to keep people out of this area, because really the priority right now, the ATF is on scene, as well as multiple other agencies, is assessing the scene. If you look down there, you can see that there are crews taking a lot of photos.
Cotman Avenue, police have station here, and he saw what took place. Mikey, can you describe what you heard and what you saw?
Yeah, so honestly, it was a big ball. I was standing right at the door, and it was a big ball of fire just flew into the sky, and the whole gas station started shaking, and like little debris and stuff was flying over there. So I tried to keep the door shut, not let customers out until the debris was gone, so nobody got hurt or anything. Once I seen the big ball of fire, I came outside. I walked straight down there, started seeing a bunch of plane pieces, and it just honestly like a human foot or something. It was in a shoe still, just on the side of the street, and we seen we seen the houses right here, they literally had caught on fire. The cops didn't even notice that at first. You know, they was trying to attend to where the cars was. It looked like it might have been a little bit of traffic in the street. So when the plane crashed, it literally every car was engulfed in flames, straight in a straight line. So when the cops came, we were trying to tell them, like, you know, the house is on fire, the house is on fire. So then they finally got a fire truck to go attend to that. But, you know, it's really tragic. And I just pray that everybody is safe. And, you know, I pray for everybody's family, everybody that's involved. And it's sad. It really is.
I know we're all praying for anyone who may be involved, relatives, family, especially because we don't know the extent, the further damage of the casualtiness of this. Now, I know you said that you weren't necessarily in disbelief when this happened, but your adrenaline was pumping, that you took off to see if you could help anyone?
All I wanted to do was help. If there was anything I could have did to assist and help them out, that's all I wanted to do. So, like, when I got over there, it's just the adrenaline was like rushing. Like, was no fear, you know what I mean? Like, I just was trying to help in any possible way. I'm a Pennsylvania state agent, so I just wanted to see if I could assist and help out in any way possible. But, you know, the cops, they did a really great job. They locked it down, tried to push everybody back because it seemed like everybody was going towards the fire, which, again, the fire, you could smell the jet fuel, and it was all black smoke around, so they was trying to push people back so that way they wasn't inhaling that, you know? And, yeah, it's sad, it really is.
There were a lot of cars and vehicles, too. I mean, there's a lot of video that people have been sending in to us. A lot of vehicles also caught on fire.
Yeah, so actually, there was a lady, she was just in enough time. Like, when I say just enough time, she just was able to get through, but she drove straight through. She pulled to the side of where the AutoZone is over there, and she got out the car, and she was like, what just happened? She was, like, in shock. And I was like, I don't know. She had a big piece of metal that flew into the back of her car window, busted her car window.
Oh my gosh, you can only imagine. I mean, I'm sure every person that was driving along the boulevard at this time, traffic probably came to a stop. People were trying to figure out what's going on. Am I safe? What's happening?
Right, and that's another thing. You know, the Roosevelt Boulevard is very busy, especially right here at Cotman. So when it happened, there was a lot of cars over there, you know. So, like, when I could see, it was literally a line of fire on every car. Like, every single car, it was like just a line of fire. Everything was on fire. And then they said that another guy came into the gas station. He happened to be right over at the Sides Hot Chicken. And he said that he saw a plane go right over top of the Dunkin' Donuts. Almost hit the Dunkin' Donuts. Just missed the Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
Did you see any other people exiting their vehicles or running or asking for help?
There was a lot of cars that had, like, metal pieces that shattered their windows and stuff. You know, people didn't know what was going on. None of us knew what happened, you know. It just was a loud boom. You saw a crazy fire flame go up into the skies. So everybody was just kind of shocked, trying to figure out what happened. And then, you know, people thought it was a tanker, could have, like, hit over a gas line, could have blew. They didn't know what was going on. So, like, everybody was trying to figure it out. But then you started seeing pieces of, like, an airplane or like a helicopter or something on the ground as like you're walking straight down the boulevard. So
now, I know we also talked a little bit about the response efforts. How quickly did you see a response from police, fire, and, you know, blocking off the streets here?
Yeah, Philadelphia police, the Philadelphia Fire Department did a heck of a job. They got there instantly. When I say instantly, I tilt my hat to them, seriously. I salute to them. They got there in a second. So, and by the time 3 fire trucks literally was flying down as the flames were still in the sky. So their response was quick.
And how are you feeling now that your adrenaline has it calmed down a little bit, or are you still pumped up?
I'm just upset, you know, like, this is tragic to happen in Philadelphia, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, a plane just crashed and all them innocent people lost their lives and stuff. So for this to just happen again, it's just like, it's mind-boggling to me, seriously, it really is.
Yes, a lot of questions and answers that we still need to find out tonight as we hope to learn more from officials here. Greg, Shari.
Okay.
Cars, and then on the ground you could see an engine. Right now it seems like the focus is just making sure that this area stays clear, so people, I know that it's natural for people to want to come down and look at the scene and assess the damage and figure out what's going on, but the priority is for officials to assess the scene and figure out exactly what happened. So we see them picking up the phone, making phone calls, making notes, taking taking pictures and just trying to see exactly what that damage is. I heard my colleague Steve Keeley, he talked about, it almost seems as if there's like a crater in the ground, and that does seem like what it appears to be, some type of crater, definitely a lot of damage there to the ground, and that just speaks to the impact this crash must have had here on Cottman Avenue. Again, this is a residential area. There's businesses. This is the Roosevelt Mall. This was catastrophic, but it could have been even worse, especially a Friday evening. There were people going to these restaurants, going to these stores, headed home. This is such a busy area here in Northeast Philadelphia. Like you two have been saying all night, you drive up Cottman Avenue and you never think that there would be a plane that just falls from the sky. And when we're learning that, it was a little girl who was being treated for months at the hospital, and she was with her mother, and there was a crew, and she was on her way home, first stopping in Missouri, then headed home to Mexico. It just makes this entire thing so much more gut-wrenching. So as well as the investigation taking time, what's also going to take some time is the healing and also the investigation, because people want answers. I just cannot stress enough that a lot of people are on edge right now. They are really on edge because, as you just said, 2 days ago, 67 people were lost in a plane crash in the Potomac River and the DC area. So people are really wondering, is it safe to fly? There's people tomorrow morning who have flights. Do they feel safe taking those flights? Are they canceling their trips? There's a lot that's going on in people's minds, and at this point across the country, not just here in Philadelphia or in DC.
Let me tell you right now, I will not be getting on no planes. I've been saying this and I've been saying it over and over. I will not be getting on no planes. There's too much going on. Come on.
See, this is people across our country that are concerned. Is it safe to get in the air? So that's going to be something that we are going to continue to ask the questions to officials. We've continued since DC. We've been asking, hey, is it safe to fly? We've been told yes, but of course after this, we have to continue to push to make sure that people get the answers that they are looking for.
All right, Cheyenne, Corinne there at the scene for us. Thank you very much. The plan here, I just want to let the folks at home know, here's the plan. We're planning to stay on the air until midnight, and we will stay in place in case we hear from a dignitary, a fire official, the mayor, the governor, the NTSB. If that happens anytime soon after, we'll come back on the air and bring that to you live. And of course, a good day, which comes on tomorrow at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. And so, of course, they're going to be give you full coverage of this. So we're going to stay on the air here for a couple more minutes and just try to, finish up our coverage, what has been about a 6 to 7 hour ordeal since this all happened.
And be sure to tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. for Good Day Philadelphia weekend, because I think once we see the light of day, we are going to see it's going to really hit home the reality of what happened, and we are going to get a fresh, different view in daylight. Hopefully we will have more information from state, federal, and local officials, any information that they might have. And typically in an investigation like this, the NTSB will give some preliminary information, and then it could be months or more before we really find out what exactly happened. But hopefully tomorrow we will also find out some more information, or later tonight if officials do hold another briefing about any injuries on the ground after that plane crashed, the impact to that neighborhood, any information related to the city of Philadelphia, not necessarily the crash.
Yeah. The NTSB will come out and discuss next steps. Yep. Here's what we've done so far. Here's what we're going to do next. They will not speculate. They will not answer any questions about what could have been. That is all weeks or months.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will not be flying no time soon. It's just not going to happen. Okay? Keep telling people stay off these planes. Nobody would listen to me. But hey, do what you do. I won't be doing it. Shouts out to all the people that came to rescue these people. Hey, man, I can smell the jet fuel from here. I can smell it.
Phone. Allie, this is a nightmare that seems to be metastasizing in Philadelphia. You can see these balls of flames that we were just talking to Tom Costello about. This is near the Roosevelt Mall. So now we're talking about the potential for injuries on the ground, obviously injuries from that plane or fatalities in both circumstances. This seems like a bad time to have utter chaos in the federal government and at the FAA.
Yeah, this is a really complicated matter because Northeast Philadelphia Airport falls under the Philadelphia Aerodrome. So the larger air traffic control area that controls that area is Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Tower. It's responsible for a lot of incoming and outgoing flights anywhere into the region. It's a pretty busy airport, actually. This flight was coming in from Morristown, New Jersey, as Tom was saying. These Learjets are equipped because of the size of them and the range that they can fly. They're equipped to put medical patients on. They can put stretchers on them. Very unusual situation because to fly a Learjet, your qualifications have to be pretty high. So we're not quite sure, and we never like to speculate this early into an accident as to what could have happened. But it does seem to have overshot the runway. And when you do that, you end up in, first of all, a pretty residential area in Northeast Philadelphia. So it's densely populated. You know, one of the good fortunes we always seen when a plane doesn't land exactly where it's supposed to be is that often it's in an unpopulated area. That's not the case here. This is a populated area. Roosevelt Mall is obviously a busy place. I'm looking at aerial shots right now, and there are closures all around the area because this is a big concern. It's also a very short journey on an aircraft that is very powerful, and because it's a jet, carries a great deal of fuel. Jet fuel is very flammable, so this has the potential to be much more serious than that looks at the moment. We do know what we know right now is it does seem to have been on a medical mission coming from Morristown, New Jersey. Very short flight, not long at all, but that's often the case with these medevac flights or these things in which they're moving patients. But yeah, this has landed outside of a fairly busy airport. Northeast Philadelphia is the second busiest airport in the Philadelphia metro area, but they all fall. I've flown out of the Philadelphia regional airports a lot. They all fall under Philadelphia. So any air traffic control information you need, if you're flying out of any of these small airports, it gets governed by the ATC and the controllers that deal with Philadelphia Airport because it's all in very similar related airspace, and it is incredibly busy airspace. Obviously, for those of us who live in New York, you have 3 major airports and a bunch of subsidiary airports, so there's probably no busier airport, but we've been talking about DCA with Reagan. There are 3 major airports in that area and a lot of subsidiary airports. This area around Philadelphia has a lot of them. So this is a busy airport area. It's a busy area for air flights. And it is sadly an area where if a plane does overshoot or something happens and it doesn't land on the pad of the airport, there's a great deal of danger of getting into an occupied area, where people live. One of the instructions pilots always have when they're having a problem landing or taking off, when you're that close to the ground, it's the most dangerous aspect of flight, both taking off and landing. And the instruction a pilot always has is you fly that plane until it's not flyable anymore, until it's onto the ground. But if you are taking off or landing in an area where you're running out of runway and there's nothing there, you aim that plane to the place where you are going to cause the least amount of damage. They say if there's houses, aim between houses. If there's trees, aim between trees. Try and get that plane to where it has to go so that when that fire comes up, it's the most important thing. And when a plane's going down, in your training, and if you're a Learjet pilot, you've got a lot of training. One of the things you learn is you turn everything off, including the fuel, because the biggest danger, you can land a plane sometimes successfully in a crash. The biggest danger is a fire. Once the plane has caught fire, you not only are in severe danger inside that plane and all the passengers are in severe danger, but so is everybody around you. And unfortunately, this very preliminary reporting is that this is what has happened. Obviously, we're seeing images of it, so we know that this is what has happened. The thing that every pilot fears, and that is a fire on landing, on crashing, or any time during flight. That's the most serious and most difficult thing to get out of. So we don't know whether that crash was survivable when it landed, but that kind of fire makes it look very, very concerning.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just making some updated information I want to give to the viewers. There were 2 people on board that aircraft. It was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. That is according to the FAA. And just to continue on what you're saying, Ali, because what we're looking at here is not just the flames, but also the smoke. And I can only imagine how toxic that smoke is from jet fuel, especially since, as you said, the plane had just taken off. That means it was full of fuel. And so I'm wondering, those houses look really, really close, and the danger to people there, not just from potential fire, but also from smoke.
Yeah, and the spread of fire, as we watched in Los Angeles, right? When you're in an urban area and homes are very, very close together, there's all these sort of fantasies about how you make sure that home fires don't spread to other places by having brush that's not too clear to your, close to your house and 100 feet and 200 feet. That's not how it works in a place like Northeast Philadelphia. These are heavily populated areas. Homes are very, very close together. So it's not a situation where if 1 or 2 houses are on fire, you're safe. This is going to be a full fire response in the area, because they're going to have to make sure that everything on every block in that area is there, and that embers from the fire don't end up on someone else's house and creating a much, much bigger problem. As I say, when you're thinking about a plane crash, it's a terrible, terrible thing, but you hope, and this is what all pilots do, they all try and say, if this plane is going down, how do I get it to go down with the minimal impact, both obviously to the people on board, but to the people on the ground, and that always has to do with fire. So there's only so much you can do. You can turn the fuel off in a plane, but once it crashes, very, very easy to ignite that fuel, and that plane would have been a plane with probably fully fueled. Small planes don't tend to fly around without full fuel if they can avoid doing so, because it's a safety mechanism. On large planes that are going across the country, they tend not to have more fuel than you need. But on a small plane, you have to have at least half an hour more fuel than you would need to complete the trip that you filed for. So it's possible that that plane was going to refuel somewhere along the line, but that's a lot of fuel that's already on the plane, and that's burning. And once that fuel gets onto things around it, there's very little firefighters can do except try and provide for the area around it to hope that fire doesn't spread.
Ali, please stay with me. I want to bring back in Randy Babbitt, former administrator of the Federal Aviation Administration. He joins me on the phone. Mr. Babbitt, thank you for coming back. We appreciate you spending some more time with us. There are still bodies being recovered in the Potomac from the crash that took place between that airplane and chopper, that fatal crash. And now there is a second plane down within just a couple of days. What will the FAA be doing in the immediate aftermath? What is the job? Walk us through what the FAA would be doing regarding this plane that has gone down in Philly.
Well, first, yes, I'm spending my afternoon and evening with MSNBC, but and I know precious little, to be very candid. This accident was, just obviously very recent. But the FAA, the first thing they would do is try to get all the records, talk to the tower personnel. What was the weather conditions? They're certainly going to coordinate with the NTSB, who will, actually be charged with investigating the accident. But the FAA has accident investigators as well, and they'll try to ascertain as much data as they could. They'll certainly record the tracks. My understanding is this aircraft shot an approach, and it was a medevac airplane, if I understand correctly, and it overshot the runway.
It was.
There's a little bit of history. It's sort of a blessing and a curse. The medevacs, it's always an emergency condition. You have someone, you're either going to go get someone from an accident or you're taking someone from an accident. And they're obviously, because we're flying them in and out, they're not healthy. They've been injured. And so a lot of times these groups, the medevac pilots, sort of push the edge of the envelope
joining us. A doorbell video from about a half a mile away, I'm assuming.
All right, Jason.
Yes,
Jason,
go ahead.
So to give you an idea, you're with Wendy's, is this? Which store is this? This is what? The cafe right here. All right. So I'm with a worker right across from where the house is on fire. What did you see in here while you were working?
Man, I was just working. I was making a drink, and then I just see a big old explosion of light just out of nowhere. I felt the vibration. It was crazy, man.
And did you have any idea what it was?
Man, I don't know. At first, I thought it was like a gas leak or a gas truck, you know what I'm saying, collided with a car. But then I hear it's a plane, and I'm like, what? What do you mean a plane?
And then you looked out the back door here. You're fairly close. You see a house on fire here. Do you know what street that is right there?
They got them barriers up pretty fast.
Yeah, but you saw all the fires here.
I saw all the fires, yeah. It was crazy, man.
And what was the reaction of everybody in the cafe and all around here?
Oh, man, everybody ran, bro. Everybody ran. They left. And who wouldn't leave?
How did you finally hear about it being an airplane?
Oh, it was crazy, man.
Did you see all the parts in the parking lot next to the cafe here?
Yeah, not the parts per se, but I just see fire, man.
Yeah.
Smoke, everything.
All right, sir, thank you very much. Pleasure safe. So there you go, Jason. This worker is about a football field's length from where the house is on fire. So we're behind, and if you're pulling up a map and you're wondering where I'm talking from, I'm right behind the Cane's Chicken Store, which is fronts right on Cotman, in the front of the Roosevelt Mall, which is diagonal right across from this house on fire. So it looks, I don't see any more flames on the house, but I see flames
I won't
on
be
the
taking
street
any
that have been right in
airplanes
the
no time
driveway
soon.
of the Roosevelt Mall,
I'm good.
next to the store that lists the sign that lists all the stores here. Those flames are now
They can give me free
up,
tickets. I still won't get on a plane.
Idea what's burning.
Is it safe to fly?
Must be some kind of fuel. And
Come
I
on,
don't know
man.
if that's the gas line, because now I see a team of Philadelphia Gas Works workers, and they look like they're getting back. All right, Jason, I'm gonna step back because I'm looking at guys with hard hats and PGW vests stepping back. That must be the gas line that the police officers were warning me about. And those flames are now picking up. That is across from the house. Maybe that's what caught the house on fire. I can see firefighters on the roof of the house. I don't know if that's the corner house or now two houses in, Jason, but I can see firefighters on the roof. These flames must be a gas line here that is right in the driveway of the Roosevelt Mall next to the sign that says Macy's, LA Fitness, Ross for Less, Sprouts. So, and this must be a gas fire right here. Although I saw the gas works team with their trucks back off, they're staying off of only about 100 feet. So nobody's running. There's firefighters walking nearby. So there must not be any danger of an explosion. The gas must be burning off from a gas line because they wouldn't allow firefighters to stand that close to a gas line. But this is definitely a gas line that's burning, and flames are shooting 10, 15, 20 feet into the air. And now here comes the black smoke again from this gas line, Jason.
Yeah, they're going to try to get that gas line off. In the meantime, they're probably searching for victims and trying to search each and every house and store there at Roosevelt Mall to make sure that everybody's okay. And this debris field, Steve, we're talking football fields, several football fields.
This gas line is spinning like a top, like a little tornado, and there's something sticking out of the ground on it that's a pipe, and I'm taking cover. I'm now at the Cane's Chicken Store, taking cover behind their doorway. I don't know if they're even open. I could go inside.
There's a Raising Cane's there. Yeah, a lot of food places right there. In LA Fitness, there's a gym. Keep yourself safe, obviously, and we're doing our best to bring viewers pictures, live pictures, as soon as we can of what we're seeing. What you're seeing right now, folks, is video that Steve took on his phone moments ago. Still very smoky and tough to breathe there.
Jason, I'm gonna get off the phone.
Okay.
I can feel the heat from this gas line fire.
Get out of there.
I'm gonna get off the phone, get you some new video, and get that right to you so we can illustrate to everybody what's going on here right now.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, is it really safe to fly nowadays? Would you get on the aircraft? Would you do it? I don't know, man. I wouldn't do it. But once again, shouts out to all the first responders. Hey, everybody that was there. I'm getting off this line, man. Y'all be easy. Peace.